Oliver, and this is my first ever travel video. And what better place to do it other than Mount Everest, which is covered with clouds. But got her. Before we get into my trek and to what I saw, let's start from the beginning. Kathmandu, Nepal. Now, Kathmandu is full of tourists, and the city is full of crazy drivers to unique, beautiful temples all around. You'll get to see a bunch of prayer wheels which tourists and locals spin to purify you of your sins, but also you see prayer flags hanged up all around the city. And on my third day, my trek began. My view from Kathmandu to Lukla was just breathtaking and gorgeous. Here's an interesting fact. Lukla's airport is considered the world's most dangerous airport due to its short runway, but it's how tourists and locals travel back and forth. I personally love the feeling when an airplane takes off or is about to land, so this plane ride was just fun to me. Two hours into my trek, I stumbled upon this river. I came into the city known as Faking, probably pronouncing that wrong, but I stayed the night, got a few pictures and a few videos, as you can see. Now the river is very cold, but you can see a lot of tourists just bathing in it, trying to get themselves clean. Two days later, I arrived in the main village called Namche. The main village is where hikers stop to rest, eat up, and just refuel as they rest for the next couple of days, try to acclimatize to the altitude. The reason people rest is because of AMS. I slightly got light AMS, so I just had to hike for a little while. Got to the tallest point, recorded a few videos, and here's where I got Mount Everest. This is my first view of Mount Everest. I stayed here for about 3 hours taking video, pictures before I went back to my room and just slept all day. But here's a nice time lapse I took for you guys. The very next morning, my body acclimatized to the altitude, and it was just a big relief off my chest. Couldn't breathe as much. But after that, I continued my trek. Are seen all around this trail, and time to time you step in. They're droppings. But due to the rough terrain, they are the only way to transport goods from village to village. Continuing on my trek, I stumbled upon these bridges, which you gotta get across to get to the other side, of course, but the views, just very beautiful and very peaceful. 5 hours of trekking uphill, and let me tell you, it was hell. Every 10 minutes of hiking, I rested for about 5 minutes, but once I arrived in Tengboche, I just grabbed a quick snack and kept on hiking. The weather here is unpredictable from sunny to foggy, where it is very dangerous to continue hiking
Good thing I stopped
due
for a
to
little bit.
steep cliffs, so I
It's
had to
open.
stop for the night.
Pretty foggy.
The next morning, I got clear skies, so I got up a bit early and continued on with my trek.
So I continue walking. I look right behind me. The sun just hits it perfectly. It's beautiful.
Now, this trek was no joke. The higher I went, the harder I got to breathe. But I was so close to base camp, so there was no turning back, even though I wanted to so badly.
Went uphill sucks, but got an hour and a half to go. Oh, yeah, this is challenging hike. Legs hurt, back hurts. Should have carried less stuff.
Here I stopped in a village called Tugla that I stayed for the day, slept all day, to get up pretty early and catch the starry night. I stayed up, so I did not get sleep any day, but it was worth it to bring you guys, show you guys Mount Everest sunrise. Now, at this point, I was just 3 hours away from base camp. I was so excited, so pumped, but I decided to leave my backpack and leave the extra weight behind at the hostel. So I just took my camera, a few snacks, and my water bottle and continued on my hike. Before arriving to base camp, I arrived at this viewpoint where just had to stop and get a time lapse. An hour later, I made it. Mount Everest base camp. On my own. No guide and no Sherpa. It was an amazing accomplishment and I was very proud of myself and couldn't wait to get off because I couldn't breathe at all. I only stayed at base camp for a few minutes till I decided to walk back down due to the altitude.
And of course, when you go back up, you gotta go all the way back down. At least not as hard as going up. All downhill from here. Thank God. Amazing view.
Here's a quick little slideshow I made. I know. Amazing, gorgeous pictures. Arriving back in Namche again, you see groups of people just making their way uphill. They don't know what they have in store for them. Going back down, I saw all that I went through and thought to myself, would I ever be back to do it again? I don't know, but I don't plan on going to the top. On my very last day of my hike, I was supposed to take my flight back to Kathmandu from Lukla, but Mother Nature had other plans. As you can see, due to thick fog, planes were cancelled for the whole day. My flight back home was the next day, so I was worried. Eventually, the fog cleared up a few hours later, but planes were still cancelled, so the only way out was through a helicopter, which I had to pay separately, which came out to about $300. Wasn't happy, but I was happy I was going back home. This was my first ever helicopter ride. It was about like a 30-minute ride, but it was cool, I guess. Get to try it on the headphones, talk to the pilot. But after I landed, I went straight to my hotel and just knocked out. The next day before going back home, I decided to walk around and get a few souvenirs, and that was it. My end of the EBC trip. Thank you for watching.